Drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes. I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
Top of the Tuesday to you, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes. This is the TFG Sports Show. I am your host, Kendrick. You're tuned in to the best 30-minute sports talk show on social media. I hope you are having a great start to your week, and it's a terrific Tuesday. I hope all is well in your homes, and I hope you're having a great Tuesday. Now, let's get some house cleaning going. Make sure you got some of the rules. Let's set the rules. You got to come in. You got to make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and definitely, you got to hit that comment. You got to hit them comments. Make sure you come in so I can holler back at you so we can talk a little bit about some of the hottest sports takes that's going on in the sports world. So, again, you're watching TFG Sports Show. I am your host, Kendrick. Again, come in, make sure you hit that like, hit that share button to your social media platforms. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the TFG Sports Media YouTube channel. And also make sure you follow the TFG Sports Media page on Facebook. So I hope everybody's doing okay, having a great time. We're going to have a good 30-minute talk real quick. Going to get in and out so you can get back to whatever you're doing on this Tuesday evening. Maybe a good day for tacos. I know it's Taco Tuesday somewhere. So, but before we get to our meat and potatoes, let's go ahead and get this appetizer out the way. Let's hit these quick hits. Our first quick hit, we got to talk about the college AP poll. We had a bunch of college games that went down to the wire. Some was close, and it made some changes. If you didn't know, Bama is not the number one team this week. They dropped actually 2 spots. But the top 10 college AP poll, number 1 is Georgia. They beat Auburn. Number 2 is Ohio State. Number 3 again is Alabama, who had their scare versus A&M. They dropped to number 3 for number 1. Number 4 is Clemson. Number 5 is Michigan. Number 6 is the Tennessee Volunteers, who Alabama actually plays this upcoming weekend. Number 7 is USC. Number 8 is Oklahoma State. Number 9 is Ole Miss. And number 10 is Penn State. Now, that is your top 10 college AP poll going on this week. Now, let's get to our quick hits. Number 2, we had our first NFL head coach firing, happened a couple of days ago. Panthers fire head coach Matt Rule, defensive coordinator Phil Snow, and special teams coordinator Ed Foley. Matt Rule was 11-27 in 3 years with the Carolina Panthers. He was 1-4 this season. Check this out, though. Rule will make $834,000 a month for the next 48 months. He's owed northwards of $40 million on a 7-year, $62 million contract he was just given in January of 2020. So don't nobody feel sorry for Matt Rule, because he's going to make a whole lot of bread not even coaching for the next 48 months. Now, quick hit number 3, Bronny James. That's LeBron James Jr., his oldest son. He signed a NIL deal, which NIL is name, image, and likeness. He signed with Nike, which his father has been with his whole professional career. That's reportedly, we don't know what the terms are, but reports are saying Bronny will use the deal to support the LBJ Family Foundation, the LeBron James Family Foundation, where they do stuff for the kids in the city of Akron to make sure they giving them educational opportunities and such as that. And our last quick hit number 4, this is a disturbing story, sad story. Former NBA star Ben Gordon was arrested at LaGuardia, New York airport on Monday night and has been allegedly was arrested for resisting arrest and assault. The assault is allegedly that he hit his 10-year-old son with a closed fist in the face. Now, that's according to witnesses that was at that gate, which was gate 19 at LaGuardia airport. Again, he was arrested. He resisted being arrested, but they were finally able to get him in cuffs, and he was taken to jail. His son, a 10-year-old, minor injuries. They took him to the hospital. He's doing okay. But the kicker to this is the son, 10-year-old son, had an order of protection against his father, but yet he was with his father about to travel back to Chicago. Don't know. That story's still developing, but that just happened and that just came down. If you want more on that, you can go to TFG Sports Media and check out that story that I posted about that. All right, let's get down to the NFL. Let's go. We're talking NFL week 5 recap. Let's talk about them Cowboys and those defending Super Bowl champs, Los Angeles Rams. I missed this one. I picked the Rams to win this. I picked it to be close. But, man, let me tell you, that Cowboys, that D, I got to give them hats off, man. It's only week 5, but that Cowboys defense is playing like a championship caliber type defense. Defensive lineman Dorrance Armstrong, he had a strip sack that led to a 19-yard touchdown return by DeMarcus Lawrence. And also Dorrance Armstrong had a block punt. So he was wreaking havoc on that mediocre LA Rams offensive line. Now, quarterback Cooper Rush, he's had a steady hand. Didn't have, his stats doesn't jump out at you. He was 10 for 16, 102 yards passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but he's just driving the bus. He's managing the offense as best as he can. That's all you want from your backup quarterback. And he's done that. And now he is 4-0 this season as a starter, 5-0 overall. He's made some NFL history. There's a couple of quarterbacks that hadn't started 5-0, had started 5-0, and now he's added to that list. Now, rushing the Cowboys, Tony Pollard had 8 carries for 86 yards. He had that long one, that long touchdown run, I believe, was like 50-some yards. He had 86 on the ground, and Zeke had 78 yards on the ground, 22 carries. So their run game was on point. The Cowboys offensively, I still think they need work in the passing game. I think CD Lamb still needs some work. We'll see what happens. Will Walker, my brother from another mother, thanks for dropping in. Will says Dallas defense is very formidable, great coach in Dan Quinn. I agree, bro. Their defense is playing. And Jimmy Johnson said on Fox, I want to say pregame, Jimmy Johnson said that defense actually reminds him of his 92 the defense that he had. A lot of similar attributes. Their defense is playing well. And if their defense, if you can hold an offense to 17 points or less scoring, you always give yourself a chance to win. Now, the Rams, the Rams are, I don't know what to say. Do they have Super Bowl hangover or what? But I can tell you their offensive line is in disarray. Will says, I can see it. Yeah, bro, I can see it. But the Rams, Matthew Stafford, he doesn't look healthy. I don't know what was something going on, but he doesn't look right. I know they got 3 offensive linemen that they've been shuffling in and out for the Rams. Allen Robinson hadn't done much they brought him in, signed him to that nice little contract. But offensively, man, they just ain't got it. I don't know what it is. They missing something. Stafford was sacked 5 times. Again, it all begins on that side of the ball with the offensive line. If you can't block, if you can't keep these guys off your quarterback, you ain't gonna have much success in a passing game. Again, Cooper Kupp did have that 75-yard touchdown catch and run, but outside of that, they really didn't do much offensively. Defensively, Aaron Donald did his thing. You can only contain him. You can control him, but you can't contain him. He did his thing, but outside of him, nobody else on that defensive side of the ball did much. Bobby Wagner, he made a couple of tackles, but the Rams, I know it's this week 5, but they're 2-3, and they just look like they're missing something. They're missing something. I think Stafford isn't healthy at all. I think he's dealing with that elbow that he had to get fixed last season as well. Now, Dallas leads this all-time series, 19 wins to 18. The Cowboys are 31-10 when Zeke gets at least 20 carries. He had 22. So that's the ingredient for the Cowboys. Get Zeke 20 carries or more, they normally win. What's up, Terrence? Thanks for dropping in, brother. And, man, I'm good, man. Glad to see you, man. It's been a minute. Glad you're back. I remember you, man. Make sure you come on in. We're going to chat a taste a little bit. We talk about these Cowboys and Rams. Another thing about the Rams, they've allowed 16 sacks. Well, actually, it's 21 sacks now through 4 games. So again, I didn't predict. I thought the Cowboys would play really well, but I thought the Rams would, after that loss that they were coming off of versus the 49ers. I thought the Rams were going to really come back home and put together a pretty good game, but they just look like they ain't ready. I did say the Cowboys would lose this 16-21, but the Cowboys ended up winning 22-10. So up next for the Cowboys, it's a big NFC East showdown for first place. Sunday night, they go to the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Rams host the Panthers, who fired their coach. And Steve Wilkes is going to be the interim coach for the Carolina Panthers going forward. Now, let's move to, speaking of the Eagles at the Cardinals. Eagles came in as the only undefeated team in the NFL at the Cardinals, and they've been up and down. Well, the Eagles, they almost gave this game away, but they figured out the way to win it. Eagles win this 20-17. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts ran for 2 touchdowns. Again, they continue to be the only unbeaten team in the NFL. They are 5-0. Hurts was 26 for 36, 239 yards, and he ran for 61 yards. He's a dual threat. So Hurts is getting it done. He's playing really well right now. What's up, the Real Estate Insider? Thanks for popping in, my brother. Appreciate you. The Eagles, Hurts is playing ball. You know, they've been mentioning his name as an MVP candidate in week 5. But yeah, I would put his name in there. Him and Josh Allen from Buffalo. He's playing real well right now. Far as the Cardinals, they've lost all 3 of their home games. Go figure. They have lost all 3 of their home games. They've won 2. They're 2-3. The only 2 wins have been on the road. Kyler Murray was 28 for 42, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Who is Kyler Murray? We don't know. He signed that big extension. And who is he? Well, the Cardinals have committed to him now. So I guess he is the guy for them. But is he the guy? We're going to see. Is Cliff Kingsbury, is he the guy, the coach, to lead this team to the promised land? I don't know. The Cardinals pretty shaky. TJ Watt can't stay healthy. Defensively, they've missing some parts. So I don't know about these Cardinals in that NFC West. Now, the Eagles wide receiver, Devontae Smith, former Heisman Trophy winner out of Bama, he had 10 receptions for 87 yards. Now, the Cardinals are now 6-1 versus the NFC East under Kingsbury. They were undefeated coming into this game versus the NFC East. Now, the Cardinals have not scored in the first quarter this season, and that is coming back to bite them in the butt, because then come the fourth quarter, they're trying to score some points. Now, up next for the Cardinals, they are at the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith. And again, the big NFC East showdown next Sunday night. The undefeated Eagles host the 4-1 Cowboys. Again, I did predict the Eagles to win this game. I predicted them to win 28-13. The Eagles actually won it 20-17. Now let's move on to the Steelers at the Bills. Oof. The Steelers, 1-4. Well, they're 38-3. Who would have saw this with this Steelers team? Will Walker says Kingsbury should be wherever Rule is. Honestly, neither of them deserve their gigs. I agree with you, bro. I agree. I don't think they neither deserve them. Both of them didn't deserve it either. And speaking of coach on the hot seat and your lookalike, Will, we got to talk about is this seat getting hot for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh? You know, I think he's outside of Bill Belichick, he's the longest tenured head coach in the league. Terrence says Kyler Murray is playing like he doesn't want to be there. I agree, Terrence. And he made it pretty much be known he didn't want to be there until he got that money. They finally gave him his money. Now what? He's definitely underachieving, in my opinion. But let's talk about underachieving the Steelers at the Bills. Look, I picked the Bills to win this, but I didn't pick them to beat the Steelers down like this. Josh Allen was 20 for 31, 424 yards, second most in team history, with a game-opening 98-yard strike to Gabe Davis. He had 4 touchdowns total. The Steelers have lost 4 straight, and this was rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett's first start. And the Steelers are now 5-21-1 when a quarterback makes his first start. So that tells you, for the Steelers, when they are starting a new quarterback, he normally doesn't win his first game. Will says Tomlin, it might be time for them to part ways. I as much as it pains me to say that, bro, I'm kind of feeling that way too. I think sometimes you can stay at a place so long that your voice becomes it falls on deaf ears. I think I'm not saying that the players aren't responding to him, but I think sometimes a change of scenery, it does both parties good. Now Pickett did. Kenny Pickett, he started. They pulled Trubisky, and I knew Pickett was coming eventually. They pulled him. He finished 34-52 for 327 yards and 1 interception. And the Steelers only had 54 yards rushing. You know, I thought they would be able to lean on that run game a little bit more with Najee Harris. The offensive line, they revamped, and they were doing. They had got a little bit more healthy, but they just couldn't get nothing done. Again, the Bills right now are playing like they are the team to beat in the AFC, in my opinion. It's Bills in Kansas City right now. I would have said the Dolphins, but they got too many injuries. Speaking of which, they lost Teddy Bridgewater to a concussion. So they are in quarterback flux down there in South Beach. The Bills wide receiver, Gabe Davis, he had caught 3 balls for 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs for the Bills had 8 for 102. 1 touchdown, and a rookie wide receiver, Khalil Shakur, had 3 receptions, 75 yards, and 1 touchdown. So the Bills can put up the points. They got offensive firepower on that side. Then you go to the defense. Von Miller got them guys balling out. Everywhere Von Miller goes, that defense turns it up a notch. So right now, you know, if you have to pick a Super Bowl favorite right now, I would say the Bills right now are looking pretty good, even though it's week 5. Now, I did pick the Bills to win this game 28-13. They ended up winning 38-3. Now, up next for the Steelers, they host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is another tough one for them. And the Bills, next weekend, that's the late game. The Bills go to the Chiefs. We got a rematch of the AFC divisional game. So that should be a pretty good one. Bills at the Chiefs next Sunday, and that's the late game. And I'm sure that I believe that will be on CBS, I believe. And our last game, NFL recap game. Speaking of the Dolphins, is the Dolphins at the Jets. And I picked the Jets to win this, but I didn't pick them to win it by 23. The Dolphins are 3-2. Are at they 3-2 now at the Jets. That game ended up being 40-17. The Jets got a safety on the Dolphins' first offensive play when Teddy Bridgewater was blitzed. He was sacked by Sauce Gardner, the rookie cornerback, and he was forced out of the game with a concussion and with some sort of arm issue, I want to say as well. The Jets ended the 12-game losing streak versus the AFC East. That was their first win against a division rival since beating Buffalo in week 17 of 2019. So we're talking about almost 3 years that they hadn't beat an AFC East division rival, the Jets. So we'll see. Robert Salah got that team playing. He's keeping them together, man. The Dolphins, again, lost quarterback Teddy Bridgewater to an injured elbow. He was examined for a concussion, and so he's in concussion protocol. Rookie quarterback Skylar Thompson, he was a 7th-round pick, I believe, out of Kansas State. He replaced Bridgewater. Dolphins running back Raheem Mostert, he ran for 113 yards and a touchdown. Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill was seen with a walking boot after the game, so he's a little nicked up. And so, yeah, the Miami's they getting these injury bugs hitting them really early when they really started off hot, you know. So we're gonna see how they're gonna be able to keep it going. Terrence says, I think they should give Mike Tomlin a little leeway because he has never had a losing season. This would be his first. You know what, Terrence? That's a great point. But you know, and you know, the thing about the Steelers organization, they do give their coaches a little bit more leeway than most of these other teams. I think they've only had like 4 coaches in their history. The Modells are known for, you know, hanging with their coaches a little longer, and maybe so. Maybe that's what they do because they're in flux. They got, you know, what they all defensive player of the year, with Watt being out, and he looked like he's going to be out a couple of more weeks, TJ Watt. So yeah, hopefully they do, because I would want him to at least turn that thing around. But if they didn't, he would definitely be a hot commodity coaching. He wouldn't be unemployed long. Let's go and keep it real. With that experience, he would not be unemployed long. So we'll see what happens in the Steel Town, Pittsburgh. Now, I did pick the Jets to win this 23-18. And they ended up defeating the Dolphins 40-17. Up next for Miami, they host the Minnesota Vikings, who is leading the NFC North. And then the Jets are going to my Packers, who stunk it up over there in London. The offense was offensively offensive in the second half, but that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that at a later date. All right, my producer Tyler, let's go to our next topic. The Red River rivalry beatdown in Dallas, Texas. Man, them Texas Longhorns rolled up there to the state fair, and they had Oklahoma Sooners eating corn dogs and sucking on lemonade and eating chili dogs, because the Longhorns came in there and they put the smackdown on Oklahoma. First quarter, the Longhorns D, they held on a 4th and 1 and ended up scoring on that. Ewers ended up throwing a touchdown to Xavier Worthy, ended up being 14-0. Longhorns had 2 long drives that they scored off of, and they ended up going into the half up 28-0. And then I thought the Sooners would actually maybe regroup. They just could not get it together. They didn't have their starting quarterback. He was out because of concussion. So they was running this Wildcat offense pretty much the whole game with their running back and this their quarterback transfer. And man, listen, the Texas Longhorn defense, they just put the clamps down on the Sooners, and that was a wrap for them. They ended up winning this game. They blanked them 49-0. Texas quarterback, they had their quarterback back, Quinn Ewers, after missing the last 4 weeks with an arm injury. He started and looked good. He was 21 for 31 for 289 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Quinn Ewers, if you didn't know, he transferred in from Ohio State. He's a Texas kid as well. He played his high school ball at South Lake Carroll, so he was looking forward to playing in his first Red River rivalry, and he had a really great game. Now that Heisman Trophy candidate running back Bijan Robinson for Texas carried the ball 22 times for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns, and a Texas wide receiver Jordan Winnington caught 5 balls for 97 yards. Check this out. Texas had 34 first downs to Oklahoma 11. Texas had 585 total yards to Oklahoma 195. This was the highest scoring game for the Longhorns in this 118 game series. This is the 118th meeting. That was the highest points that the Longhorns have ever scored in this rivalry. Actually, it just was a point more than they scored last year, because they scored 48 and they lost last season 55-48. Now, OU starting quarterback again, Dylan Gabriel, didn't play, and they only had 39 yards passing. You ain't gonna win no game. I don't care if you playing college or pro. You ain't gonna really win no game if you have only 39 yards passing. Again, Texas came ready to play. Steve Sarkisian, they brought that gold hat back to Texas. Now, this is the first Texas victory since 2018 in this rivalry. The Sooners are on a 3-game losing streak, and they will be playing Kansas, I think, who is ranked number 19. So they got them coming up next week. The Texas Longhorns, they're hosting Iowa State at home this coming weekend. And that's an 11 a.m. kickoff. Now, both schools entered the latest Red River rivalry with 931 all-time wins. The only programs with more wins than Texas and Oklahoma are Michigan, Alabama, and Ohio State. So, again, that Red River rivalry beatdown is in the books. These two, they're going to still play this, because guess what? In a couple of years, both these teams are moving to the SEC, and that Red River rivalry rivalry, I ain't gonna say it may not be a beatdown. It will continue once they move on to the SEC. Now, let's move on to our next topic, Mr. Producer. Man, yeah, I know. I want to hear what Will and Terrence got to say about this in the Real Estate Insider. The Warriors, Draymond Green punches his teammate in the face, and the fallout has begun. Well, this happened Wednesday night at a practice. It was closed to the media as well. I think that has been reported. There was no media allowed. According to reports, these two have been jawing. They normally jaw at each other like this. They have been jawing all practice. And if you saw the video, Green started walking toward Jordan Poole, steady, mouthing, jawing, flapping his gums. Jordan was flapping his gums back. So Green got into his personal space. Jordan Poole pushed him. No, that's when Green gave him that one shot to the face, and then that's when everybody ran up. Now, here's the thing. Everybody says that these two, Poole and Green, they normally talk, they chirped back and forth with each other during practice. So nobody felt like this was that big of a deal. I was just wondering why did nobody, when they started seeing Green walk toward Poole, there was only one, looked like a coach. I don't know what he was that was walking with Green. Why didn't the other players try to get in between this before this got to this? Probably because they know these two are always jawing at each other. But the thing is on this, that punch, I ain't. Yeah, it was a sucker punch, and it was a sucker move by Draymond Green because that's your teammate. Again, in sports, guys, believe me, I played high school basketball. I get it. Sometimes tempers get hot. You get to jawing. Some teammates will fight, but to throw a punch like that, man, it was something else behind that punch beside him. Whatever Jordan Poole said. Now, I really want to know what Jordan Poole said. I did see where one report said that allegedly Jordan Poole called him triple single, and that's what started it. Now, if you don't know, Charles Barkley called him that, Draymond Green, during the playoffs, during the NBA TNT telecast. I don't think that him calling him triple single is what triggered that. It was something else that triggered that. So I don't know. This is crazy. The Warriors organization now is really investigating how did that video get leaked to TMZ, because again, according to reports, there was no media allowed at this practice, so it had to be an in-house leak, i.e. the Warriors video department. And we all know TMZ gonna pay that bread for some good video. So whoever leaked it from inside, they got paid. But according to the Warriors organization, there's probably gonna be some heads rolled. Now, Draymond Green would do a press conference on Saturday, expressing his remorse. He apologized to Jordan Poole, to the team, to the organization. He said he's going to be away from the team for a while, and he apologized to Poole's mother and his family. You got to do that, but you got to be suspended and you got to pay the piper. Will says, after the push, you, Poole, still need to protect yourself, but he clearly wasn't expecting Draymond to swing off. Agree, bruh. He was not expecting, and that's why it makes sense that these two cats always go at each other, because he probably said, man, go on. That's what his push was. He probably wasn't expecting him to swing on him. But you gotta always, like my bro Will says, you gotta protect yourself, man. You gotta when you push, you gotta put your dukes up, because you don't know. Now, my thing is with Jordan Poole, I ain't gonna lie. When or if Draymond comes back, I'm swinging on him. First thing, I'm swinging on him. Got to. I mean, because man, you swung on me without me knowing. I'm gonna swing on you. Can we move forward from that? Maybe, but you gonna get swung on straight up. As soon as you walk in that locker room, it's going down. I might get suspended, but nah, man. I mean, dude, this is crazy. Now, the thing is, if that video would have never been leaked, if it would have stayed internally, we would have never known how bad this was. But that was bad. We just thought it was some little bit of altercation, but until we saw the video, that kind of changed the perception of it, and it changed the perception of Draymond Green. First of all, Draymond talks too much anyway. I think he likes to hear himself talk anyway. So, man, look, we got to square up, bro. It's going down. And then I forgot Jordan Poole. Will, I didn't know he was from the Milltown. I've just found that out a couple of days ago. Jordan Poole was from Milwaukee. He played at the University of Michigan, but he's from Milwaukee. That's my birth city. I didn't know OJP was from the Milltown. But again, the Warriors are still investigating. Don't know how long Draymond Green is going to be gone. The NBA season starts, I think, October 18th is the first game, if I'm not mistaken. The Warriors did say they're not expecting him to miss any regular season games, but who knows? So anyway, man, Warriors got to fix that. If it would have been kept in the house, we would have never known how bad that is. All right, Mr. Producer, let's move on to our next topic. I think we're talking about he ain't sweat. If you ain't saw the video, you got to see the video. You got to see the video. Will says, but Draymond is the king of the triple single. No lies detected, laughing out loud. You're right. He is the king of the triple single, and I agree. And when Charles Barkley said, Chuck said that, I was cracking up because he told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But let's move on to the SWAC. Let's move on to Coach Prime and Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. Jackson State face Alabama State at their homecoming on Saturday. Jackson State will come out with the win with 26-12. And with the big thing is at the end of the game, both coaches were to meet to shake hands at the midfield. Coach Robinson wasn't having it. He gave him a quick handshake, and then Coach Prime went to move in and give him the Obama hug. Nah. Eddie Robinson Jr. wasn't having it. He gave him the little stiff arm and he walked off. Coach Prime looking like, what's this? So then during the post-game presser, Coach Eddie Robinson Jr., no relation to the late, great Eddie Robinson, Coach Robinson in this presser, Terrence says, I don't know how Draymond Green is going to walk this one back because that film did look bad. And this is his last year on his contract, so they might influence. Yeah. So I agree, because he is in the last year of his contract. The Warriors can pick up a player option, and if they don't, he's a free agent. So I didn't see them picking up that player option anyway. But this definitely doesn't help his case for a bigger contract, in my opinion. But Coach Robinson in his press conference, he went in. He said Coach Prime was being disrespectful all week. This and that, and he said he stands on the shoulders of the coaches before him, and he basically said, Coach Prime, he ain't Shaq. I mean, he ain't Swat. He ain't Swat. I'm Swat. But he did give Coach his props. I'm not gonna say it was all negative. He said he loves Shedeur Sanders. He think he's a great quarterback, and he said, I appreciate what Coach Prime he's put together at Jackson State. He said, but he ain't Swag, and I just didn't like the disrespect. Will says, I smell a hint of jealousy because Coach Prime is doing more for the SWAC from anyone before him. Thank you, bro. And he's doing more for HBCU athletics, football-wise, than anyone. This is a question I want to ask Will or Terrence, Real Estate Insider. If Coach Prime wasn't at Jackson State, if he hadn't came to Jackson State in 2020, would we even care about the HBCU football, let alone the SWAC? Probably not. But guess what? Coach Prime has came in and gave the HBCUs an identity. He's working to get them to be taken care of, especially when it comes to playing preseason games, because these HBCU schools don't get paid like when Power 5 get other schools. They're not getting the same money that those schools are. Coach Prime is not. He's like, we're not having that. He said we're good down here too. So he not only is he, trying to focus and help his school, he's trying to make sure that all the HBCUs get a piece of the pie. Will says, yeah, he did give him his props, but he still has sour grapes. Yeah, he was a little salty. He was in his feelings, He was saying it was disrespectful for him to walk through his team's offense and, all that. The thing was, Coach Prime, according to reports, they were late getting to the stadium because of traffic. So they were behind schedule. So they had to hurry up and do things. So Coach Prime, one of his rituals that he's done, even in his NFL career, according to Coach Prime, he walks around the field and pray. Well, there wasn't much room for him to walk, so he had to walk in between some of the Alabama State players to get around the field to his side. And then the Alabama State players were calling them B's and N-words. And Terrence says, I don't think anyone would care. Exactly, Terrence. So my thing is, Coach Robinson Jr., I think, was in his feelings a little bit. And it was a little bit of male testosterone going on. You got two alpha males. I get it. But come on, man. I think he was a little bit out of line with that. And he said he hoped he can play Jackson State next year during their homecoming. That's what Coach Robinson said. Believe me, I'm sure Coach Prime can make that happen. I'm sure y'all can come on up there to Jackson State. He ain't got a problem with that. Will says, I honestly only watch one game a year of HBCU football before Coach Prime. Now I try to watch more now. And I'll be honest, me too. I do. I try to find me an HBCU game every weekend. If I can't watch Jackson State, I'm trying to watch Alcorn State, Grambling, Mississippi Valley, Prairie View, somebody. I'm trying to watch an HBCU game. So again, I really did think he was in his feelings, but Coach Prime, to respond to that, he ain't SWAT. Coach Prime in this person said, I am SWAT, baby. I am SWAT, baby. I am SWAT. So again, my thing is, I ain't saying you got to buy down and just to a man like that. But come on, man. It looks, you two brothers, y'all both trying to get to the same destination. You may be doing it differently, different personalities, but you both in it to make sure the HBCUs get some love. That was cold though. You ain't swag. That's what Eddie Robinson Jr. said. But Coach Prime came back and said, I don't know who. If I ain't swag, I don't know who isn't. Who is it then? If I ain't swag, who is it? That's what Coach Prime said. So I can't wait to see if these guys get together next year for their homecoming. So I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on this Alabama State, Jackson State rivalry. All right, Mr. Producer, I think we're down to our final thoughts. I want to thank my brother from another mother, Will Walker. I want to thank my brother Terrence Stone. I want to thank my brother, the Real Estate Insider, for joining me. I got some final thoughts, and we're going to get out of here. Terrence says the recognition that he's bringing to the HBCU colleges with television opportunities. Exactly. They are on ESPN, ESPN2. You're seeing them now. You're seeing all that. So he's definitely bringing that where they can get some of this television contract money that these big Power 5 conferences get. These HBCUs, the SWACs and the MEACs and all those, let them get some of that money too. It's some good football going on as well. Again, I want to appreciate you guys for watching with me. Before I get to my final thoughts, make sure if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to TFG Sports Media. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the page, TFG Sports Media on Facebook. Make sure you do all that. Share to your social media platforms and all that. We're working on 1,000 subscribers. We're around 820 on TFG Sports Media. We getting there. Thank you, brother. Much love. Much love. So keep it coming. Keep it coming. Terrence says the recognition that he's bringing to the with television opportunities. I agree. Terrence also said he's allowing the HBCU players to get recognized by scouts more than they had ever been before. And that is one of the big things that he said when he came to Jackson State. He want to make sure that these guys, these young fellas, get the exposure because there's some NFL-ready football players in HBCU football. Now, my final thoughts. I don't know if you guys have checked out the Redeem Team, Terrence and Will. I got a chance to watch that when it dropped on Netflix this past Friday, and that's talking about the 2008 Olympic Dream Team. And I want to say this for the Nick Wrights out there, especially Nick Wright, that's dissed and that's pissed on Kobe Bryant all the time. If you don't know who Nick Wright, he's a sports opinionist on First Things First. He's whack. But watching the Redeem Team, and this is no diss to LeBron. I know LeBron his fans love him, and I'm not dissing LeBron, but the Redeem Team, it definitely solidified in my mind that the late Kobe Bean Bryant is a top 3. He's a top 5 NBA player of all time. And I put him ahead of LeBron, but I've always put him ahead of LeBron. He solidified that 2008 Redeem Team. If you watch it, if you haven't watched it, watch it. He was the catalyst. He was the key for that team. Period. Point blank, leadership, all that. All that you thought of Kobe, that's what he was. And from that Redeem Team, it definitely solidified in my mind that he's ahead of LeBron James. Again, this ain't no shade to LeBron, but I've been saying this. I ain't changing it. Yeah, Nick is whack for sure. I'm with you, Will. So if you haven't, check out the Redeem Team on Netflix. It's really good. It's kind of sad, too, because the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant, you see some personal interviews with him on there. But again, I got much more. I mean, I already respected him. I'm an MJ guy. I have no, qualms about that. But I think Kobe was MJ 2.0. I always say that in my mind. So check out the Redeem Team on Netflix. Believe me, you will enjoy it. Anybody that's basketball fans. Now, my last real quick final thought is, if you guys don't know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You can't tell, but I got on my pink shirt tonight for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I definitely want to send a shout out to a beautiful spirit, a beautiful woman that I met some years ago by the name of Coco Powell. She lost her battle with breast cancer this past Thursday. I had the pleasure of meeting this beautiful sister some years ago at a Trinity Mother Francis breast cancer awareness event in Tyler, Texas at the St. Louis Baptist Church. I was on the program to speak from a perspective of a son breast cancer, and I was able to. She was the featured speaker, and I was able to speak with this beautiful sister. She lost her battle on Thursday after she underwent 9 surgeries, mastectomies, but she fought to the very end. She was a Navy veteran, and she was just a beautiful, beautiful spirit, beautiful soul. But she got her wings on Thursday after losing her fight to stage 3 breast cancer. So I definitely want to dedicate this show to Coco Powell. Peace be upon you, my sister. May you continue to rest in power. And I dedicate this show to my late mother, Carolyn Louise Henderson, who lost her battle to breast cancer, stage 4 metastatic breast cancer at the age of 53, October the 27th, 2005. So I dedicate this show to both them, both Coco Powell, and to my beautiful mother. Mama, I know you're smiling down, so I dedicate this show to you, and the rest of my shows I do in the month of October is dedicated to my mother, the late Carolyn Louise Henderson. So I want to thank everybody, Will Walker, Terrence Stone, the Real Estate Insider. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Make sure you come back here, check me out every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Share this, like, subscribe to TFG Sports Media. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm out, and make sure you wear some pink. Make sure you wear some purple for the Domestic Violence Awareness Month and for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We'll see you next week. I'm out. Peace.